All right, we are live for today's or tonight's NaNoWriMo. We are all right, and we are going to take that down so that we are not. Let's cool. All right, this is great. All right, and I'm getting the hang of this. It only takes me a few minutes to get things going now. So, and we're figuring out how to make the stream update instantly, I think. Did this update? That doesn't seem to be updating. Come on, you can do it. Update. Well, before it was like updating instantly when I put it in. So we're gonna do a reload and see. There we go. All right. So now we have the text there. NaNoWriMo, day 10, straight legendary. Day number 10, straight legendary. All right. Let's get a little bit of writing in. Yeah, we're probably not gonna do like a whole lot tonight because I have some video shoots that I'm doing tomorrow, and I have to finish preparing for those. And today was a long day. So, that happens. So, okay. The stream seems a little fuzzy here, so hopefully that's just on my computer, not on your guys' end, and that it will show up the right way. All right, we're gonna try. I just want to reload it. I don't like a fuzzy stream. Oh, that's a little bit better. All right. And hopefully it stays that way. Okay, guys. So let's see. So yesterday we were in the middle of this scene here, and we're gonna stay in the middle of this scene. So we got hi, Dr. Pennington. Plug in my laptop so that it doesn't go dead on me. So, hi, Dr. Pennington. Oh, it wasn't on. All right, we need to make sure that it's on 720 HD. To what do I owe this pleasure? Read this here. Okay, so we're still in the scene. And everyone is calling for your head. Are you surprised? This is academia. If someone isn't calling for your head, are you really doing your job? Your job is to research, to lecture, and to present fact-based arguments and hypotheses. Darken my screen a little bit. And hypotheses, not to opine that hyper beings let's say hyper beings will lead to the demise of the planet. I'll say that. I didn't say that, Vivette, and you know it. Besides, what I wrote is not an opinion. It's backed up by future historical data. These are facts. If that's the case, then why do none of your peers or colleagues agree with you? Because they're scared of hyper beings. I refuse to base my literature on fear. Why would we be afraid? Why would we be afraid, Jess? Afraid, Jess? Full hyperbeing integration is a good thing. Having people with powers accepted into the greater society has done nothing but change the world for good. Nothing. So we're going to forget about all those supervillains out there. Of course not, but the heroes are handling that. We're talking about advances in physical sciences, hyper-technology beyond our wildest dreams. Almost every field, from sanitation to entertainment, is better and more efficient than ever. And the future historical data shows that those very efficiencies could have some catastrophic effects. Could have some catastrophic effects. I mean, we're already seeing it. Have you looked at the unemployment rate? I mean, we're already seeing it. Have you looked at the unemployment rate? Okay, so I think I want to find a better way to segue into this somehow. And the future historical data shows that those very efficiencies could possibly have some catastrophic effects. Could possibly have some catastrophic effects. I mean, see, if I was using script writing software, it would have smart type that just typed out the name when I write the name. And but since I don't have the script writing software, I just gotta write it out the whole way. It's like it's a smart type, but I don't have the smart type using it because Google Docs isn't made for script writing in this way, at least. Oh, I mean, you can write a script on it, but it doesn't do all the things that my script writing software does. So when I finally import this into a script writing format, into a script writing software, it'll be a lot easier to type and all this stuff. They won't have these weird, things, but these weird ways laid out. But anyway, so let's see. And future historical data shows that those very efficiencies could possibly have some catastrophic effects. Chime goes off indicating, we're going to change this right now. Someone is at her door. She looks at one of her screens, which she looks at one of her screens, and the IN sees the ID. Crap, not now. She drops her head for a moment, then goes over to she drops her head for a moment, then goes over to the door, then goes to open the door. So for this, so this is one of those places where, especially when you're writing a script, or even when you are, especially when you're writing a script for like a film or something like this, and then even sometimes when you're writing a book, I said she drops her head for a moment, then opens the door. So when we met her, she was sitting down, right? A couple of three-dimensional holographic. Jessica Brown's can start to paces back and forth, or she's pacing back and forth among stacks of books, and somewhere on her desk is a large book is she's 7. All right, so we're going to a large book. She sits down what was it? An idea, an idea. An idea suddenly hits. An idea, let's say, suddenly hits, and an idea suddenly hits, prompting her to take a seat, prompting her to, no, we're not going to say plop down, prompting her to sit down at the large, sit down at her desk where a large book is sprawled out. She begins taking vigorous notes. She begins writing vigorous notes. She begins writing vigorous notes, both with her pen and pad, and on a nearby note, and both with her pen and pad, and on her laptop. We'll smooth that out a little bit later. We'll smooth out. Okay, so the idea is that she was pacing back and forth, and then she sits down. She's like, "Eureka!" And she sits down at her desk and begins taking notes and writing and taking notes and writing. Let me say she's interrupted. Let's say she's interrupted. We're missing an R there. She's interrupted by the sound of a chime indicating someone is at her door. She looks at one of her screens and sees the ID, department head. Perfect. One of her screens and sees the ID. Probably going to switch that up just a little bit. Oops, I forgot to do something. I've got to let some other people know that I'm streaming. All right, Facebook fans, streaming. Finally doing today's NaNoWriMo stream. We'll do a hashtag. I don't know if that will mean anything. Come check it out. Day 10. Okay. She looks at one of her screens to see that there is, all right, the screens and sees the ID, department head for that. Crap, not now. She drops her head for a moment, then opens the door. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. So she's at her desk, and I don't actually have to write that she gets up, goes over to the door, pulls it open. Like I can just say she drops her head for a moment, then opens the door. So that would automatically indicate if you are reading this and you know that she's sitting down and it says she drops her head for a moment, then opens the door, your brain will make the connection. You're not going to think to yourself that she stretched out like Mr. Fantastic or Stretch Armstrong and opened the door. Your brain is going to make the leap that she went and opened the door. It's just like if someone was going to get into a car, I just say they came outside and got in a car. You know that they had to unlock the car, pull the door open, sit down in the car, or I can even go so far as to say they got in a car and drove away. And I don't have to say I don't have to say they walked up to the car, unlocked the car, opened it, sat down in the seat, closed the door, put the key in the ignition, turned it over, put it in drive, and drove away. Don't need to say all of that. All I have to say is she went outside and got into the car. She went outside and drove away. or she went outside, got into her car, and drove away. You understand that all those other things had to happen. So that's a way to make things more concise. If you're writing a traditional novel, sometimes those details are a little bit more or more meaningful or more necessary, for the flow of your book, or filling out your word count and adding that kind of detail that as the writer you have to add. If I'm doing this as a script, if it's a script for a TV show or a movie or something like that, it's up to the director and all the other people involved to help make that, to bring that to life. If I, as the writer, if there's something significant about the way they open the door to that car, or the way she goes to the door to answer someone knocking, then that's my job as a writer to indicate that. But if there's nothing special about the way they open the door, I don't need to write all of that stuff. Like they'll fill that in. If no director's going to be like, oh, wait a minute, for how does she get from coming out to the car and then driving away? Like did she open the door? Like, can somebody help? Like, of course she opened the door. Like, I don't have to write that. So same thing here. So she drops her head for a moment, like, oh, then opens the door. So, and then that indicates she drops her head for a moment, then has to get up and open the door. Sometimes when we're in the flow of writing something, we will write those little things in there, those extra little things. But as I go back through and edit, I usually find myself pulling out anything that doesn't need to be explicitly explained. So again, unless it's something significant, if she drops her head for a moment, then goes over to the door and puts a special keypad number lock thing in order to unlock it, because that's going to come back in some other way. It's going to be a call that's setting us up to call back to something else. Then yeah, I'd put that there. But it's just a regular door. Maybe it's locked, maybe it's not. But she has to get up and open it. And she would rather take that time to get up and open it. That's the significance there. The choice here is whether she says, come in, and the person just comes in, or if she gets up to open the door. But I'm going to have her get up and open the door, because just that moment, like making that decision to do that instead of having her say, come in, is showing that she's a little bit more, that she has to, like the significance of her opening the door rather than being inviting is showing that she's already kind of defensive, where she's like, I mean, the difference between whether if you're in an office or you're in a bedroom or something like that, and somebody knocks on your door, there's a difference in the significance of you just saying, come in, depending on who it is. And it's like, oh, you're inviting that person in, rather than you're like, oh, crap. And you go to the door and you're like, hello, because you're kind of indicating that you don't really want that person in. So that's the choice I'm making here. And that's a little thing that's in that choice. Now, let's say I'm writing it and I'm working with a director, or I'm working with an artist who's doing it, and the director or the artist says, well, why does she have to get up? Why don't she just say, come in? That's when we have that discussion where I say, well, the significance of her opening up the door means something, so that's when we have that discussion. So those are the kind of little, things that we are, as writers, sometimes have to think through when we're writing our stuff. It's like, what's the significance of these actions? Then we're also trying to decide which words to leave out and which words to put in order to, help us tell the story we're trying to tell without over-telling it, because you don't want to over-tell the story. Like I said, you don't need to tell every little thing, because that also slows down the flow of the read. If you say, oh, she went and she opened the door, unless it's significant. So that's why I'm putting it there, that she drops her head, and then she says, then she opens the door. Then she drops her head for a moment. Then we'll put the part in where she's then reluctantly, and yes, I did mean reluctantly, not reluctantly, or whatever I said. She drops her head for a moment, then reluctantly opens the door. Vivette Pennington, or someone. I was going to say the personification of professionalism. We'll say the personification of academic professionalism. We'll say that. Vivette Pennington, the personification of stands there, looks at her with has a concerned look on her face. Look on her concerned look on her face. Jessica tries to put on a happy face, but she's failing miserably. Hi, Dr. Pennington. Hello, Dr. Beck. To what do I owe the pleasure? Vivette. Jessica pulls the door open a little more, allowing her boss to come in. Vivette closes the door. So again, that's significant to mention that because the idea is that this is about to be a closed door conversation. Closes the door behind her. Jessica goes over to the shelves and pretends to be looking for something. All right, y'all, that's our tutorial. This should be got the dots because it's continued. Nope. We'll actually just put this up here and combine that. In fact, everyone did, and everyone is calling for your head. Are you surprised? This is academia. If someone isn't calling for your head, are you really doing your job? Your job is to research, to lecture, and to present fact-based arguments and hypotheses, not to opine that hyperbeings will lead to the demise of the planet. Dr. Beck turns sharply. I didn't say that, Vivette. You know it. Besides, what I wrote is not an opinion. It's backed up by future historical data. These are facts. And if that's the case, then why do none of your peers or colleagues agree with you? Because they're scared of hyperbeings. I refuse to base my literature on fear. Why would we be afraid, Jess? Full hyperbeing integration is a good thing. Having people with powers accepted into the greater society has done nothing but change the world for the good. Nothing? So we're going to forget about all those supervillains out there? Of course not. But the heroes are handling that. We're talking about advances in physical sciences, hyper-technology beyond our wildest dreams. Almost every field, from sanitation to entertainment, is better and more efficient than ever. And the future historical data shows that those very efficiencies could possibly have some catastrophic effects. The operative possibly. That's the operative word. So now I talked a little bit about a few days ago in the stream about how I'm trying to make sure that this is the primary audience for this is in the young adult range. So what I was going to say here was the operative word is possibly. I don't know if that goes over the head of the young adult readership, but sometimes it's cool to learn new vocabulary. So operative word is the operative word is possibly. Now that we know the problem, we can work to prevent it. We can work to prevent it. The operative word is possibly. Now that we know the problem, we can work to prevent it. That's the whole point. That's one of the, no. The word is possibly. Now that we know the problem, we can work to prevent it. We're talking about advances in the physical sciences. What I do here is, like, when I'm not totally sure how I want the next line to go, I'll just go back and kind of read the conversation over and over again, or read the last portion of the conversation over and over again, because it'll help me flow right into the next piece of dialogue. I like to see how dialogue just sounds backed up against each other. So for Vet, it's of course not, but the heroes are handling that. We're talking about advances in the physical sciences, hyper-technology beyond our wildest dreams. Almost every field, from sanitation to entertainment, is better and more efficient than ever. And the future historical data shows that those very efficiencies could possibly have some catastrophic effects. The operative word is possibly. Now that we, but that's it. Maybe. Maybe you'll just say possibly just. No, I just say possibly just. Now that we know the problem, now that we know the problems, we can work to prevent them. Do you really trust that people who can prevent them? Now that we know the problems, we can work to prevent them. And there is no evidence. No. Now that we know the problems, let's say we can work to stop them, so that maybe she can say, You mean like how we stopped the chrono bombs? No, I don't want her to mention chrono bombs. Because now it's like chrono bomb in the first scene, chrono bomb in this scene, kind of beating you over the head with it. We already know the chrono bombs are out there, so we'll have Yvette and Jessica kind of talk about the more circumstantial stuff around the future historical data, which of course hasn't been revealed exactly what all the future historical data has said. We just know that the future historical data, shows issues or to stop them. We can work to stop them. We can work to stop them. But we won't. But we won't. Vivette. And I don't need to know the future to know that. To know the future to know that. Now that we know the problems, we can work to stop them. But we won't, Vivette. And I don't need to know the future to know that. So we're kind of talking around, not talking around in circles, but we're kind of, there's a couple of things that I want to make sure I say here, but I don't want to take too long to say it. Your job is to research, lecture, and to present. It's to research, lecture, and to present. Dr. Beck. I didn't say half of that. You know it. It's not an opinion. It's backed up by future historical data. These are facts. If that's the case, then why do none of your peers or colleagues agree with you? Because they're scared of hyper beings. I refuse to base my literature on fear. Why would we be afraid, Jess? Full hyper being integration is a good thing. Having people with powers accepted into greater society has done nothing but change the world for the good. Nothing. So we're going to forget about all those super villains and all that. Villains out there. Of course not. The heroes are handling that. We're talking about advances in physical sciences, hypertechnology beyond our wildest dreams. Almost every field of sanitation and entertainment is better and more efficient than ever. And the future historical data shows that those very efficiencies could possibly have some catastrophic effects. And I don't need to know the future to know that. But we won't with that. All right, so we're gonna try something here. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna go for it. We are gonna try something. Hmm. 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 Oh, it's 9 o'clock. All right. So I'm actually considering getting a whole new scene here, um, with the with the with what I'm thinking about doing here is flash forwarding into the future to kind of show what Jessica is talking about. So having Jessica and Vivette argue about, future periods that have been documented by future historians. Um, and maybe this is where we reveal that there are gaps in the timeline. So there are parts of the future that they haven't been able to travel to. So the timeline is, of course, a linear thing that's been twisted and broken up because of chronobombs. So as the timeline has been being repaired, which again something that we'll talk about later, they there are people who are traveling forward in time and coming back and giving notes and et cetera, et cetera. But there are certain parts of the timeline that they can't go to. So they might know something that happened in like 2135 in January of 2135, and then maybe they've traveled to March of 2135, but for some reason they can't find out what happened in February of 2135. Like the future historians can't get there. They can only see what happened before it, then they can see what happened after it, and then they jump back and they document the notes of what happened in those 2 months, but they don't know what happened in February in February. So things could look amazing in January and then look terrible in March, and they don't know exactly what happened to make that happen. And then again, they could be down in August of the same year and haven't been able to see the things going on between there and see that in August things are incredible again. So because the timeline is dotted in that way, where times of great prosperity and future technology and utopia, there are also parts of the future that are dystopian, but the times kind of but there's alternating. It's not like there's a consistent timeline when things gradually get worse and then or that things gradually get better. There are times where things are terrible and times when things are awesome. And then they it's like checkered. The future is checkered. You know how we always say checkered past? Now there's a checkered future. So what we're finding here is that Jessica is so Vivette and most of the other peers who are future historians and hyper anthropologists, they are they are so enthralled by the amazing and awesome things that they see in the utopian futuristic pockets of time that they're almost ignoring the dystopian. They're like, well, if things always seem to end up great, then we don't have to worry about these bad things because obviously things will work themselves out. You know, um, because things always seem to work themselves out, and which is what the future historians keep coming back and saying. So um So what I'm considering doing here is showing, like I said, scenes of the future, both from all the things that Vivette is saying that the future is going to be amazing, that we've stopped the problems, and Jessica pointing out the fact that all of these terrible things happen. We can't ignore that just because it looks like things get better later on. We need to figure out the reasons for why things are bouncing up and down, so I do have I have a couple of ideas for why that happens, but that is one thing I'm not gonna spoil for you guys right now. I know I'm spoiling a lot of stuff by like telling you the story, and as I'm working it out in my mind, that's the whole point of this exercise. But it's a couple of things that I want to keep close to the vest. Okay, so we're about 42 minutes in. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I got a lot of stuff to do tonight, which I feel like I say that every single stream, that I got so much to do, which is why I got to cut it short. But it may not happen this week coming, but I am definitely looking to do like a long 3, 4, 5 hour writing session with everyone coming up sometime. So I'm probably just going to do this stream for a few more minutes, kind of continue talking through this, and maybe beginning to construct this scene of Jessica and Vivette looking into the future according to the future text, So he's in the book on her desk. There are notes scrolled all over it in several sentences and passages. Let's see if historical data shows that those very efficiencies could possibly have some catastrophic effects. There are notes scribbled all over it, and several sentences and passages are highlighted in yellow. So, all right. So for now, we're going to write this again. Remember, first draft disclaimer. Highlighted in yellow. Look at this. Look at this. Let's say 75. We're going to do an arbitrary number here for now. 75 years from now. No, actually, I think I'm going to use exactly what I was just explaining to you guys. I'm going to say, look at this. In January of 2135, everything. And January 25, everything looks perfect, right? Right? Prosperity. In January 2135, everything looks perfect, right? Prosperity. Prosperity. peace, prosperity, peace, harmony. So I don't know if this is constructed the way I want it to be, because at this point I have her turning the page and then I have her describing okay, so I have to think about how do I want to construct this. Where you want, I mean, look at this. Man, look at this, 21. I know what to do. We're gonna cross-reference back to. We're gonna cross-reference back to Pilar. What was her name? Santiago. Pilar Santiago. 2254 to 2354. So we are going to actually use that timeline. Those numbers are still kind of arbitrary. Okay, I gotta map this out a little bit in my head. So I don't know if I'm gonna get into it right now. Because I got to break this down. The idea is that I want to show there are markers indicating fractures off the road. 2254, 2354. Stay right there.
I've counted to 1,000 and I can't fall asleep.
Okay, well, just lay there and relax until you do.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Are you recording?
Good night, Enoch. Interruptions, but it's all good. We keep rocking and rolling. So she was 37 years old, and again, when she was 2354. 2354. No, what is going on? Yeah. Yep. Okay, so trying to figure out how to construct this scene, because I want this to morph into they're going to discuss those timeline fractures in the year 20, because I think they're going to decide that it was at those times when the chrono bombs went off. So maybe you know, those times when they can't decide, when they can't penetrate the space-time continuum and travel to specific times on the timeline, those might be the places where the chrono bomb exploded on the twisted, turned, and fractured timeline. All right, I gotta think about this one, guys. And gals, guys and gals, people. I gotta think about this one, people. And so, but that thinking is probably not going to happen. Well, it is going to happen tonight, but it's not going to happen right here live on stream because it's 9:20 and I have a couple of hours to get ready for tomorrow's video shoots that I have to prepare for. And since I have a lot of video shoots tomorrow, I can't stay up all night preparing for them. I actually have to prepare for them now, or finish preparing for them now, and then, you know, get to bed so that I can be fresh for tomorrow's shenanigans. I am shooting more videos for Str8 Legendary. Some Str8 Legendary episodes. I was supposed to release one last week. I've been releasing them every week, and then last week I was supposed to release one, and I didn't because I edited the wrong video. So I have to go back and edit and I have to finish editing the previous video, the previous episode, and then I'll have 2 videos. But then tomorrow I'm filming more episodes of Str8 Legendary, talk about inspirational stuff, writing, creativity, entrepreneurship, inspiration, motivation, all kinds of things. So we're gonna talk about different things with all these episodes, and then I'll release them over the next few weeks, and you guys will get to see more and more stuff. So anyway, all right, so this was I actually feel really good about this session, despite the fact that I'm about to cut it, but I feel like I'm cutting it short. But we got pen to paper, we got it done, and now I gotta, go take care of some business. So this was fun. Thanks a lot. As always, shout out to everybody, the Creative Extreme, TCIS, Str8 Legendary. Hit me up on Facebook on Str8 Legendary. That's STR8 Legendary. Check that out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Facebook page. And shout out to TCIS, Team Bandwagon, and all the other incredible creative folk and partners out there. I will see you guys all tomorrow on the next live stream. All right, the legend grows. Huzzah.